welcome back to the Second American Revolution. My name is Gabe the Great. Let's jump straight into this. So one of the things that we got to understand is that in this next American Revolution, this isn't just going to be like a political revolution. This isn't just going to be like the left storming back against the right, because honestly, in the United States of America, we have no left. This is going to be a revolution that fundamentally changes the way that we all see society. And it's going to be a revolution that changes the way that the entire world sees society. Okay? And one of the reasons being is because in the United States of America, we need to change everything from the ground up. Right? Like America needs a makeover. It needs a remodel. And one of the areas that we need to, that is going to get a makeover is in our parenting, in the way that we view children, in the way that we raise children. All of that needs a total makeover. So in today's video, I want to talk about this revolution and how it's going to affect narcissistic parents and how it's going to affect parenting and child development in general. Most of what I'm going to be talking about today comes from my manifesto, the Overman's Manifesto. I'm going to start doing some public readings of those on TikToks. So you can follow me at Gabe the Great 18, I think, on TikTok. But in my manifesto, the first thing, after I sort of explain my introduction, the first thing I really jump into is parenting and child development, child rearing, child abuse, right? And I'm going to get into that in a second, but this is going to be super important because how we raise the children is who the adults become, right? So in my introduction of the Overman's Manifesto, I talk about how reality is made up of three things. And if you aren't new to this channel, you've heard me talk about this. Reality is made up of three things: the self, society, and the unknown. Okay? We're going to talk about the self today. We're going to leave society and the unknown to the side, although you could probably figure out what they are, right? Society is your environment, your community, everything around you, but we really get deep into how it affects reality itself. And then, of course, the unknown is everything you don't know, which is actually a very large part of reality. Most of reality is unknown to you and will be unknown to you throughout your life. Okay, but let's talk about the self, and let's talk about parenting, child development, and narcissistic parents. So every human being is made up of three things: universal consciousness, the body, and the environment. Let's talk about universal consciousness because that's the most difficult one to grasp. And quite honestly, it's the one that no one fully understands, okay? I'm not going to do this video and purport to be like an expert on universal consciousness. This is something we are all still trying to figure out. We're all trying to figure out consciousness. I call it universal consciousness because one of the things that I talk about in my manifesto is how no singular person owns consciousness. Consciousness is not something that even asks our permission. Consciousness is just something that we have when we arrive here, right? And every human being is a different development of consciousness. This is why I say that the humans are nothing more than the universe getting to know itself. Let me say that again, because this is very important, and this is one of the revolutionary concepts that I bring about in the Overman's Manifesto, which is that every single human being is nothing more than the universe getting to know itself. One of the issues that we have as humans is that we see ourselves as observers of the universe and not a part of the universe, right? The same particles and elements that made me, made the steering wheel, made those clouds you see behind me, made everything in your view, right? We are not just observing the universe. We are a part of the universe. We are a part of a larger whole. To our knowledge, nothing else is going around the universe naming it. Nothing else is going around telling the universe, naming the stars, naming the trees, naming the planets, naming ourselves. We are the narrators of the universe. We are the directors of the universe. We are what name life life. We are what names consciousness consciousness. Okay? This is why understanding that, when you understand that human beings are the meaning makers of the universe, meaning that meaning does not exist outside of human beings. Meaning is not something that the stars search for. Meaning is not something that the trees wonder about, nor do we debate the meaning of anything with these entities. We, not even with the animals. We don't debate meaning with animals. Human beings are the meaning makers of reality. Here's what science has also told us about the universe. The universe is expanding, right? Right now, the universe is expanding. And one of the things that we fail to understand is that children are an expansion of the universe. Every time a child is born, the universe is expanding. The universe is getting wider. The universe is getting deeper. And as I said earlier, every human being is the universe getting to know itself. So every time a child is born, this is the universe asking itself, who am I, over and over and over again. This is why there's no one singular purpose. This is why some people want to be lawyers, some people want to study rock, some people want to be celebrities, some people want to be rich and famous, some people want nothing to do with money, some people want to live in the woods, some people want to live in the city. It's all right, because every iteration of a human is the universe getting to know itself. Okay, the universe wants to know itself. This is why the dictator and the protesters are just as much as part of the universe. I don't get to dictate what's right or wrong any more than Hitler does. So again, like I said, this stuff gets deep. So when you start talking about a child being born on a deeper, more spiritual level, what you are actually realizing is that a child being born is a new question that the universe is asking. And the universe is now going to explain itself through this child's eyes. It's going to use the information that it's already gathered through other human beings that we may call history or education or norms or cultures or values or laws or rules or whatever. It's going to take that information that it already is made meaning of, and then through this child, it's going to continue to make meaning. And this is what the universe is doing all the time through every single human being. Does that make sense? This makes parenting way more exciting than what we make it out to be. Because now I'm not just raising another biological organism. I'm raising a new vantage point that the universe gets to look through. That one day this child is going to grow up and become an adult. And he's going to ask all the same questions that I'm asking. Who am I? Why am I here? What's my purpose? Right? And so when you are raising a child, what you're really doing is scaffolding universal consciousness. You are helping the universe understand itself through your parenting. So one of the things I talk about in the manifesto, and I've talked about this on this channel, gentle parenting is going to be the only form of parenting in the future. Why? Because it doesn't make sense to raise the universe through pain when you don't have to. Most people who spank their children, they don't do so because they've thought about disciplining children with any level of depth. Like, they haven't really gone deep into the idea of, okay, what does it mean to discipline a child? They're just passing along a tradition that they got. They were spanked, so they spank. And these traditions are coupled by these tropes and these ideas that follow along with them that we use to try to rationalize the tradition. Like, oh, if I'm spanking you because I love you. Well, if you don't spank your child, they're going to go out into the world and be, reckless and break laws. And there's just no data to support that. The data actually goes the opposite. The data is very clear. Spanking children is harmful. It increases aggression, decreases self-esteem. It teaches children how to lie. It teaches children how to avoid punishment. It doesn't discipline them, right? Discipline must be self-actualized, right? I talk about this on a later section of the manifesto when I get into sex and I start talking to the men, and I tell the men, you can't pray the gay or the porn away. It's not possible. Discipline must be self-actualized. Beating someone, whether that person is a child or an adult, does not teach them discipline. It teaches them that authority is that power is painful. That people in authority have the right to harm you. That those who love you have the right to harm you. Fathers, do you really want to be the first man to cause your daughter physical harm and call it love? Men love talking about how they hate men who beat on women and all that, but they won't stop spanking their children. You'll spank your son. Why is it wrong for a man to hit a woman, but it's not wrong for an adult to hit a child? Is the child not more defenseless than the woman? Again, I'm not. Domestic violence is wrong. Don't do it. You should never do it. But what I'm saying is our logic doesn't make sense of why we justify spanking. Another reason why people spank children is because, let's be clear, or let's be honest, they don't have the emotional discipline or intelligence to know how to navigate a human being that's just as complex as they do. They've never wrestled with their own emotions, right? So they don't understand that when a child is asking why, this is the universe asking why. This is the universe trying to understand what's going on. Why am I here? What's my purpose? This is the purest form of the universe that we're ever going to get is through children. And what we usually do is we beat that curiosity out of them. And we teach them that the world, your curiosity in the world is something to be feared, right? That you need to conform, that you need to be controlled by something else. And so then these children grow up and you wonder why society is wrong. We didn't teach the youngest, the purest, rawest form of universal consciousness that their existence is okay. We taught them that there's something inherently wrong with their existence when we spank them, when we treat them the way that we treat them. We teach them that, like I said earlier, power is painful, and it can only be, you can only have a relationship to power through pain. Okay, so the revolution. Now let's talk about the narcissistic parent, because nobody embodies this idea that my child is here as a tool for me. I talk about this in the manifesto that, narcissistic people are just an extreme version of what we all are, which is egotistical storytellers, as I talked about in the beginning. All of us are the center of our own story. A narcissistic person is nothing more than a person who wants other ego people to bend their story to their story, right? So a narcissistic person wants to bend reality to themselves instead of trying to work reality out and understand what things are. They want to be the dictators of reality. And what narcissistic parents do is they try to they parent their children from how they want their child to be, not from who their child is becoming. I've talked about this in earlier videos. If your 3-year-old is going to become a doctor, they are becoming a doctor right now. If your son is going to become a respectable man and a respectable husband, if he's 6, he is becoming that right now. That is not something that's going to happen to him later. That is something that is happening to him right now. Whoever your child is going to end up becoming or end up being, they're becoming that right now. And what a narcissist doesn't care about your vantage point from the universe. The narcissist does not care that, okay, this is your life and you are interpreting it. You have your senses and you are trying to navigate. The narcissist doesn't care about that. The narcissist wants you to use your senses, your perceiving, your ability to make meaning and collapse it in on its version of meaning and its version of life and what it wants you to do, right? When you have a narcissistic parent, the narcissistic parent doesn't guide the child. The narcissistic parent doesn't instruct the child or model the child or keep a relationship with the child. For the narcissistic parent, the child is nothing more than another extension of someone to do something that they want. So for instance, I've talked about my mom on this channel, about my mom being a narcissistic parent. It wasn't just with me. I was talking to my younger brother. My younger brother, he is, about 18, 19, but he has autism. And so I found out a few months ago, and again, this is another reason why it's like, I'm trying to get my little brother out of the situation. I found out that my mom was making my younger brother pay rent at their place to teach him responsibility. Now, check this out. Check this out when you hear this. Because the reason why she feels like he needs to learn responsibility is because she was making fun of him, like his hygiene. This is our mother. She was making fun of his hygiene, right? He gets mad, punches a wall, punches a hole in the wall, right? Both are wrong, but come on, your mom is making fun of your hygiene. Your mom isn't like, hey, you need to take a shower. She's literally bullying him, something that he's talked to me about before. And what she then does is she says, okay, well, you need to learn responsibility, so now you need to pay rent. My 18-year-old, 19-year-old autistic little brother has been paying rent at my mom's place since he's had a job, the same way she made me pay rent when I was 15, 16 years old, right? And when I found out, I said, yo, little bro, like, your name isn't on the lease. You don't need to do that. She's the parent. That's not your responsibility, right? But what a narcissist is going to do, a narcissist is going to make meaning, is going to tell you a story and then force you, right? Use the leverage of the fact that they are your parent to force you to do what they want you to do, even though it's not in your best interest. My little brother should be saving his money. And this is what I told him. Bro, you need to be saving your money. What do you want to do? You want to travel? You want to save your money for that? You want to go somewhere? You want to buy you some new equipment? You want to make YouTube video? Save your money for that. That's extortion. I don't care if she is our mother. That's wrong. That's wrong. That's not supposed to happen, right? That's not supposed to happen. But when you have a narcissistic parent, this is what they do. So the revolution. Now, here's the thing. Y'all may go, oh my God, that's so sad. Your mom and your life. Here's the problem. This is many people's lives. Maybe not the exact same thing, but many of us had parents that didn't raise us. Many of us had parents that didn't guide us, that didn't help us. A lot of us, when we were 18, we didn't know how to regulate our own emotions. That is something we had to learn how to do throughout life and different relationships that we had. We didn't know how to make meaning of society. We didn't know about credit. We didn't know about taxes. We didn't know about, because our parents weren't guiding us. They weren't preparing us for the world that they knew was ahead of us, right? They were just concerned with them surviving for them, right? You guys ever heard this? Maybe you're a child, you're angry at your parent, you guys are arguing, and they go, I do love you. I put a roof over your head. I put clothes on your back. My nigga, if you didn't do that, you were gonna go to jail, right? That's narcissism. A narcissist is gonna go, hey, you should love me because you respect me because I do all these things for you. Wait a second. No. That's not the basis of respect. The basis of respect is you're a respectable person. That's what you want me to do when I go out into the world, right? So I should just respect any person who comes into my life and pays for me, who pays bills. Isn't that how grooming works? Isn't that how people get caught up in trafficking? Someone comes along and says, hey, I'm gonna take care of everything for you. Ain't that how that works? But when you are taught by your parent, hey, someone can use the fact that they pay bills and lord it over you. Someone can use the fact that they provide and lord it over you. It's no wonder everyone ends up in abusive relationships. It's no wonder that, now people, men grow up and they are abusive in the way they're abusive, and they try to, manipulate and groom people the way they do. This is the way we were raised. Again, this isn't a Gabe, oh, your mom is. A lot of our parents have a lot of narcissistic tendencies. One, because they live in a highly self-centered, egotistical, narcissistic culture. That's another thing that people don't want to realize. Everybody wants the problem to be outside themselves. Everybody, that's one of the things that we got to get through in the revolution. Y'all want the problem to be outside yourselves. Oh, well, that's just that person's problem. They just, no. This is a cultural problem. We have a cultural problem where we don't focus on the family. You hear the right, the left, or the right talk about, oh, we need family values, family values. Family values is the responsibility of the family. If there are no family values in your family, it's because you as a mother or father did not instill them. But the narcissist wants their problems to be somebody else. Hey, somebody else fix my problem. No, family values, you instill family values. That's not the government's responsibility to make sure your family has values. That is your responsibility as the mother and the father. So it's taking pride in the fact that, man, I get to watch the universe unfold. I get to watch the universe learn about itself. I get to watch this amazing a human being become. Nothing brings me joy like watching my children exist. Watching my children be happy is that's the meaning of life for me. I don't need anything else. I don't need rich. I don't need more subscribers. I don't need none of that. Watching my daughters be happy is joy for me, because I understand I am watching the universe learn about itself. I am watching these young girls become women, right? I am watching these children become adult, and it's happening in real time. This is why I get so protective and I'm so defensive of my nonverbal autistic child when she got abused by her special education teacher. You are outside of your mind. I don't care if Maya Bella can't speak. I don't care if we call her autistic. She is the universe getting to know itself. She has a vantage points through which she is interpreting the universe, and she is entitled to that. She has a right to that. This is why we need a revolution. We need a revolution because our legal system does not care about children. A child does not have rights in the United States of America. Because if you violate a child's rights, if that child cannot afford a lawyer, that child can't file a civil suit. If the state is unwilling to press the charges, ain't nothing that child could do. There is one class of people, right, who are legally not allowed to earn wages, and that is children. Requiring children to have attorneys to engage with the part of the government that protects rights, that is nonsensical. You're not trying to get justice. Why? Because our founding fathers in the United States of America, they didn't care about people outside their class, including children. Including children. A lot of these millionaire, billionaire companies come off the back of child labor. And we know this to be true. We know this stuff. Right? So it's one of these things where the revolution isn't right or left. The revolution is a revolution of humanity. We do not recognize the humanity of children. That is the revolution against narcissistic parents and a narcissistic parenting culture. No, children are human. Children have rights. One of our responsibilities of parents is to help our kids understand they have rights. This is why I let my daughters tell me no. Not in the sense of, hey, go clean your room. No, I'm not doing that. We're not talking about that. I'm talking about the ability to assert your boundary. My daughters, if I want them to grow up and learn how to be safe, they need to practice setting boundaries with men. I am the first man that they come in contact with. They need to be able to set boundaries with me. They need to be able to go, Dad, no, I don't like that. Dad, no, I don't want to do that. They need that ability. I need to foster that ability because they need to go out into the world and know whoa, this is what it looks, this is what it feels like. I need that sensation to be in their body to go, whoa, this is what it feels like when someone doesn't respect my boundaries. This is what it feels like to assert my boundaries. This is what I do. This is how I navigate. This is how I talk. This is how I use my words to make it crystal clear. Here's what I'm willing and unwilling to do. I need my daughters to do that at a young age. I need them to practice that, right? I need them to be able to express, use their words, tell me what you're feeling. They need that ability because one day they are going to fall in love. And they need to be able to help their partner navigate a relationship with them. A lot of people want to show up to the relationship and go, oh, if he loves you, he will. No, he won't. If he don't know, you need to use your words and express your emotions. You need to use your words and learn how to work through problems. Okay, your sister hit you. How do we solve this? Let's talk through it. Right? That is, it's a revolution where we go, no. The child is not just an extension of me, which I think is really cool, right? One of the coolest things, and y'all may think it's funny, but one of the coolest things I love is being able to look at my kids and go, man, they used to live in my balls. Like, that's just nuts to me. That's just nuts to me that these entities used to just be single cells, and now they're just like amazing humans, amazing individuals, and I've been able to watch it the whole time. Again, this is why when the government steps in and wrongly takes custody of my kids, no, you are trying to rob me of a right that I have. I have a right to watch this expression of the universe get to know itself. You can't rob me of that right just because I found out that your client was abusing my daughter. Right? We got to get revolutionary. We got to get radical. Because we're not radical, right? Narcissistic parenting isn't just in the home. Narcissistic parenting is about making sure that the government doesn't overstep its boundaries into our children's life. A narcissistic parent doesn't care. A narcissistic parent only cares about what they want. So if the government oversteps into their child's life, so what? If the government abuses their child, well, I'll just take my kid, take them somewhere else, right? As long as it doesn't come back on me, as long as it's not an inconvenience for me, as long as I'm not bothered by it, right? Narcissistic parenting isn't just about abusing or neglecting or putting your hands on children. Narcissistic parenting is about not protecting them from the dangers of the world. It's about not being aware or in tuned enough with your own offspring to know, whoa, there are some things out there I got to prepare them for. I can't just keep them off social media. Yeah, I got to keep them away from it. But at some point, we got to sit down and engage. At some point, I got to help them navigate this social media landscape, which means I got to be engaged in it. I can't just check out and go, oh, that's just for the young people. No, I got to get active in this thing and figure this thing out. So that's one thing I want to put on our hearts today. We are going to have a revolution against narcissistic parents. It's not just going to be, oh, we just need a new government, a new constitution. No, guys, we got to do this thing from the ground up. We got to raise better children. We got to raise better communities. And that's where it starts. It starts with the individual. It starts with the individual parents going, my child's expression in this universe is important. My child being able to self-actualize is important. And that self-actualization means that sometimes my child is going to want to actualize things that I don't see or that I don't agree with or that I'm not that way, right? It's how I feel about if my kid came home today told me they were trans. It got nothing to do with you being my kid. Let's talk through it. Let's go through it. What are we navigating here? This is, you are a separate part of the universe from me. I think it's really cool that half of you is me, but you are your own entity. You are self-actualizing without me. I need to respect that. I need to lead you. I need to guide you. Again, I gave this analogy for people. I had my first child at 24, and I'll end with this. Let's say I die at 74, hopefully. That means I'm going to get 50 years with my oldest child, right? I'm going to get 50 years with my oldest child. Only 18 of those, she's going to be a child. most of the time that I'm going to know my daughter is going to be as an adult. So I can't be trying to keep her here, keep her as a child. Nah. The majority of our relationship, she's going to be an adult. She's going to be her own person. She's going to make her own decisions. And I am simply going to be there as a background. I am a background character in her movie. I am a background character in my daughter's movie. And I'm always going to be a background character in my daughter's movie. Maybe at times I may be the co-star, at times, but she is always the star of her own movie, of her own life. And it's my job to assist. It's my job to guide. It's my job to love. And so that the universe can get to know itself through her. All right? All right, boom. Love you guys. Bye.